1 Corinthians 8, Beware, lest your liberty be a stumbling block to the weak. In chapter 8 of 1 Corinthians, Paul addresses the issue of food offered to idols. This was a culturally specific issue for the Corinthians. But the principles Paul outlines about our spiritual freedom and our conscience and consideration for the well-being of others apply to all of us. Exegesis by sections and verses. Verses 1 to 3. Love versus knowledge. Paul begins by contrasting knowledge and love in the context of the debate about food that has been sacrificed to idols. He acknowledges that all of us possess knowledge, but he warns that knowledge can lead to arrogance, whereas love builds up. He points out that anyone who thinks they have complete knowledge about something doesn't yet know as they ought to know. True knowledge, he argues, is recognizing God and being known by Him. Verses 4 to 6. There is only one God. Paul addresses the issue that there is only one God, affirming the belief that an idol has no real existence and that there is no God but one. Even though there may be many gods and lords, for believers, there is only one God, the Father, from whom all things come, and one Lord, Jesus Christ, through whom all things are made. Verses 7 to 13. Concern about the conscience of others. Paul notes that not all believers have this knowledge. Some, accustomed to idol worship, still associate eating such food with idols, and thus defile their conscience by eating food sacrificed to those idols. He emphasizes that a believer's freedom should not become a stumbling block for those who are weak. He goes on to explain that while food doesn't bring us closer to God, we are no worse if we don't eat, and no better if we do. However, if someone sees a person who has knowledge eating in an idol's temple, won't that person be emboldened to eat what is sacrificed to idols? Therefore, if food causes a brother or sister to stumble, Paul says that he would rather not eat meat offered to idols than cause them to stumble. This exemplifies the principle of giving up personal freedoms for the sake of not causing another's spiritual downfall. Overall summary. 1 Corinthians chapter 8 addresses the issue of eating food offered to idols. Paul underscores that the believer's freedom should never become a stumbling block to others. The central theme of the chapter is about caring for the spiritual welfare of fellow believers. The exercise of spiritual freedom should always be tempered by love and consideration for others.